Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PSBA BoardDocs webinar, Effective and Seamless Board Meeting Management. We are excited to have this webinar today and share this information with you. And I'm going to go through a few webinar announcements. My name is Amanda Finney, and I'm the Partnership Manager for BoardDocs. This webinar will last 30 minutes. We ask that you mute all of your lines. We definitely encourage questions and ask that you put them into the Q&A box, and we will address those questions at the end. The session will be recorded, and we will share the recording along with the slides, and any other information will be emailed out after the webinar. Today on the line, we're excited to have Heather Masshart, Policy Consultant with PSBA, as well as Andrew Klein, our Upgrade Specialist with BoardDocs, and soon to be joining us to help moderate will be Dottie Schindlinger, VP of Governance and Technology. So welcome, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Great. I know everybody is ready to get going, so we can dive right into the presentation. Andrew, I'll turn it over to you, and then when you're ready to let me flip over a slide, just let me know.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good. So a short little overview of what BoardDocs is and who we are, what we do. We're an advanced board management solution. Essentially, that means that you can do everything that you need to do in terms of getting prepared for board meetings all in one place. And through PSBA, the really nice part about that is that it allows you to keep your agendas and everything in the same place as your policies. So that's a really nice part of our partnership. So you're able to create, manage, and publish all the board-related documents. And a huge part of that is that it's from any device, right? So a lot of people use just a regular laptop or computer, but you can access or manage anything from an iPad or a phone even, and it fits seamlessly on your screen. And so there's over 20, well, I think it's actually over 3,000 subscribers now, but we have a lot of subscribers and a lot of in municipal, schools, and other board-related fields. Generally, we deal mostly with public governance. And of those over 3,000 clients now, we have over a 98% retention rate, which means that they like what we do, I think. They come back year over year, and that's a good thing. And I think one big reason for that is that we have a 99.999% uptime, which means our site works, I can't say 100% of the time, but almost always. There's a very, very slim time where you wouldn't have the solution, and that's never really ever been a case where someone hasn't had access. And it's fast and reliable, so it's really easy to use. It's one click to content. And it's always there for you. There we go. And there's different versions of BoardDocs. So there's the LT version, which I'll give you an overview here in a second. And then there's Pro. So there's the different content. And I would say Pros are flagship. A lot of our clients are on Pro, but with LT, you still get that agenda creation and management. You know, you can change things, manage them instantly. You know, it's a really seamless drag and drop, really nice way to do it. A lot more functional than a PDF or maybe a Word document, or definitely more easier to use than having to print and do that all over and over again. So you have that in the LT. You also have your policy tool, which a lot of you might be using through PSBA already. So that's where you can actually have available at a click of a button right next to where all your agendas are. You have a minutes tool in LT as well. It's just a place where you can kind of pull in your agenda, take all your minutes, and do what you need to do in there. Akin to a Word document, but the nice thing is that it's still all in one place. You know, it never has to leave BoardDocs. You know, it's a secure platform that it makes it easy to use, and you know, you can kind of, it's a rich text editor, so there's a lot of editing functionality there as well. And then there's a search capability. So you probably can't see on here, but at the top of this little screenshot here, there's a magnifying glass, and you can actually search the entire site. And you can choose what to search, whether it's just meetings, maybe even the minutes or policies, or even just attachments of meetings. You can search whatever you'd like. Included in that is a thing called meta search. And that's generally quite valuable to a lot of our districts for a number of reasons. It allows you to search all of the public data of all of our clients. So we have over 300 clients, or 3,000 clients now, and all of the public information is able to be searched through meta search. So if you're, I always bring up the example of drones, because that's a pretty big hot topic today on campuses, is what's the policy like on drones? And so you can search drone in meta search, and X amount of results come up, and you can see all over the country how many people have a policy on drone and what that looks like. In PA, for example, I know that you can search drone PA, and then there will be a ton of different districts in Pennsylvania that are talking about drones. So that's a nice capability as well. And then lastly, there's a video integration in LT. So you can actually record your meeting and then put it into BoardDocs, and it allows you to timestamp it. So you can go through and say, hey, I just want to look at the citizen participation piece. You could click on that on the agenda, and then boom, you'd be right at that part of the video where you see the citizen participation or whatever it may be. So that's LT. And with Pro, you get a couple more functionalities. And so it's always easy to show you, and so we'll do that when we click into it, some of the functionalities, but there's an electronic workflow. And that might not mean much just saying it out loud, but what it allows you to do, if there's multiple people submitting to the board clerk or to the person who gets the agendas ready, they can actually submit through BoardDocs and then go through this workflow process where other people can edit it. There's an approval process, and it's all set up by you. So you determine who sees what, who approves what, but it allows you to have someone submit it, and you can say, okay, this looks good, and it goes right onto the agenda. Instead of, maybe asking them, well, hey, where is that item that you said you were going to submit? Or, if they maybe give it to you via email and then you have to type it up, they can do it right into BoardDocs, and it's a little more streamlined that way. There's also a more robust minutes tool in Pro. So this is personally my favorite part of Pro is the minutes tool, because it really streamlines the minutes. And so what it does, it allows you during the meeting to record all your notes, anything that goes down in the meeting. You want to make sure that it's in a part of the minutes. You can record all your votes in Pro as well. And so then once that's all done, it pulls right into your agenda. And so then all you have to do is format it. So that's a really nice tool that Pro offers. Another big thing is private annotations. So this mimics paper, right? So your board members would then be able to make notes on any agenda item, and it's private annotation, so no one else can see it. It's just for them. So maybe 2 nights before the meeting, they're reading through their agenda, and they can make notes in BoardDocs Pro, and then come back the day of the meeting and be clicking through, and it shows them that they have a note there, so they can say, oh, hey, we wanted to review this before, or I wanted to review section 3 of this resume, or whatever it may be. So that's a pretty neat tool as well. And then lastly, in Pro is the library section. And the library section is essentially a unlimited data storage for anything that may already be on your website, or something that you want your boards to be privy to and have access to, but you want to keep it all in one place. And so it's public or private. You can make it for the public to see whatever you'd like, or you could lock down certain items that you might just want your board members to have. And in that library section is a functionality to be able to track goals. So if you have a comprehensive plan and there's a ton of goals that go along with that and things that you're working on, you can actually attach specific goals to agenda items, and then it automatically builds a progress report for you. So you can see when you click into that section, that goal tracking section, you can see every time you've discussed the fiscal responsibility goal, or the graduation rate, or whatever it may be, whatever goals you might have, you can track them against all of the work that you're doing as a board and as a district. So that's Pro on top of all the things that you would get with LT. And I think we want to click through now the site just to show a little bit. Is that correct, Amanda?
Yes, Andrew, I'm going to switch the presentation over to you, and you can go through your instance and give them a live view of everything you just covered.
All right, does this look like, can you see everything here?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
All right, perfect, good. Well, I'm going to sign in first. This is my site. You can put whatever picture you want here. There's a little welcome message below, and then this is the featured page, but I'm going to sign in here to show you what it looks like for me as what we call a super publisher. Would be generally a board clerk or anyone that would be doing all of the main work. And so when you click login, you come right to this Our Login page. Everyone would have their own username and password. So I'm AK Super Publisher, but also board members would have their own username and password as well. And so I'll differentiate between what the board sees and what you see, but it all really looks the same, and that's done on purpose. Just as a super publisher, you have a lot more kind of arrows where you can click into it and say, hey, I need to fix this. So when I sign in, you see there's a lot more things on my featured page. And so that's your home screen essentially, is your featured page. And you determine what pops up here, right? Maybe there's certain meetings that you want your board members to know that are coming up, or the public to know that are coming up, or just past that are important. Or some certain policies you want to feature that are also really critical that maybe people ask about a lot, the budget or some salary, whatever it may be. And then in Pro, that's when you can start to feature some things like documents from the library section. So again, anything that might be important, I just have some random things here. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, you could feature events from the library section. So a workshop, maybe a committee meeting, maybe even the first day of school, and then some board goals. So anything that you might be tracking, you can put here and have that right on your feature page if you'd like. And then over here on the left, that's where you have that welcome message, and then a link to all the board members where you can, in Pro, have a summary of who they are and what they do. So just go back up here to the top. And if you see at the top, the way the board docs is kind of set up is that you'd have all your content here, and then when you click on a tab, that's where you'll go into, that tab. So that here's the meetings, then there's the policies there. So you see they're right next to each other, and they look and function quite similarly. And then in Pro, that's when you have that library section here. So just to show you really what the meetings tab looks like, you could click in right here and say, I want to go to that meeting right now, or you could come in here to click on meetings, and then all your meetings will be over here on the left. You can backdate and put old agendas and old minutes in here and then have them in there for searchability functions as well. Or you could keep ones that, are right here. So maybe this February 28th meeting that just happened, you wanted to look at that agenda. You could do that easily by clicking on it. And then what happens is that you have your view agenda. You still have the ability to print, which is really important to some districts, just in case you want to be able to print maybe just a simple agenda. This would just say view minutes to the public, but since I have that ability to edit the minutes, it allows me to edit them. Same thing here. You could just view the minutes or view the video, but I had kind of edited it. And then this is a Pro function here with this is my favorite tool in the Pro function, that ability to vote, and it's called the MCP, and it's a meeting control panel. So during the meeting, it helps you take your minutes and do all that. So I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll just look at the agenda quickly. Boom. And so how it would work, your agenda is over here on the left. You can scroll through, and then when you click on an item, boom, all the content is over here on the right. And so you see, it gives you a little agenda item details, what meeting you are in, what category, just prelims, the subject of it, the access level. Again, you can make an item private if you need to. And then you have different types of items. This is procedural, just a Pledge of Allegiance. You'll also notice that there's multiple content areas. So anything you put in the public content area, somewhat self-explanatory, would be able to be accessed by the public and everyone that has that wants to go to your site. When you go down here into administrative and executive, these things only pop up for people that, in this case, are administrators. So like maybe vice principals or anyone that has a login to BoardDocs. And then executive content would be just for the board members. This would be just for board members' eyes only. So an example here might be an expulsion. If there's an expulsion that you need to discuss at a board meeting, there might be some content that you don't want everyone in the public to see, but you definitely want your board members to know what's going on, so you'd put that down in there. And so as you scroll through, again, I have these editing capabilities, so it's really easy for me to move things around, right? If I know this is going to be up here, a simple drag and drop, and boom, it renumbers, and now you can move it that way. So this is an agenda that's already created. And so you have the ability to edit all these items, add content here, wherever you need to add it. You can even move the whole categories. So if you scroll down here and reports, there's actually going to be up here. Boom, you can move it up there and, you know, it re-letters for you. So it's a really easy way to just make changes on the go if you need to. And another thing is that right up here, this is where you would add new content, this little hamburger here. Click on that, you could add a new category, which would be the reports or a section of your agenda, or just a specific new agenda item. So say we make a new agenda item added. It will always pop up right under where I was. So I was actually clicked on this Pledge of Allegiance last. So that's why I put it right here. And so if we go into this agenda item, you can see this is a past meeting. So you would likely be working in draft meetings. These are active meetings, but you could come in here and make edits. So you can change the meeting that it's on, change the category that it's in, change the subject right here, and say it's call to order. Again, we're making another one that already exists, but you know what I'm saying, any subject that it would be. And then here's where those types are. So you can make the different types. And then with the content areas, it's a rich text editor. So you have the ability to make tables. You can source into other sites or other parts of the BoardDocs site. You can bold things, make it look however you'd like. And then there's an attachment, a file section. And then the same thing goes for administrative and executive. You have a whole rich text editor and then an area to attach files for that section. So that's just, I'm going to have to do that. So that's just kind of how the agenda piece looks, you know, and so this drop-down hour is for only someone like myself who would have access to creating all this. We were in active meetings, and I was showing you how to edit things there, but really where you're going to be doing most of your work is down here in draft. And this is where you keep all your future meetings, all the draft meetings, essentially. So if we're working on that March meeting that's coming up in a week, you can, again, you know, print the agenda, view the agenda, add and edit minutes and video. So when you come in here, this is when you'd actually be, where you would actually be fixing everything, and right click is your friend. So if I right click, I can actually rename it right from there, duplicate it, or delete it. So you can do that for any item. You can duplicate, delete, use that hamburger again to create things, whether it be a category or an agenda item. Or you could go back, if you go to draft, you can actually duplicate whole meetings. And this is the way we normally see people using the draft section. Instead of coming up here and creating a new draft meeting every time for every month, if March looks just like February, you could come in here and just right click and duplicate. And what that looks like when you click on it is that you can actually duplicate the entire meeting, or you can say, you know what, we're not going to have this budget discussion, so might as well take that off. And you have the choice to duplicate attachments or not. So once you do all that, duplicate, it's going to duplicate for you. And then you get a copy of that March 21st board meeting. And then you would just come in here and edit the name and edit the date and all that good stuff. The piece, I know I could obviously get into the weeds a little bit more, but I don't want to do that now. And that's on LT or Pro. What I've shown you is on LT or Pro. A couple of other things when I say like the library section, you can go in here and have all your goal tracking and light up your items. If you click on it, you see there's multiple tabs. There's the general area, the events tab, the strategic goals tab, and the board members tab. And even with policies, when I click on that, you have active, draft, and retired. So you can go through and look through all that. And you see there's a search at the top of all of these. So if I go to meetings, you can search all my draft meetings. Or if I go to active, I can search all my active meetings. Or I can use, like I said in the beginning, there's this magnifying glass up here that pulls over this whole search feature where you can choose what to search right here at the top and search the whole site. And that's where you would use that meta search where you could actually search all of the public data. So is there anything else, Heather or Amanda, you think I should highlight quickly now, or do you want to kind of start chatting a little bit more about the partnership and everything that goes into PSBA and BoardDocs?
I think you've done a great job showing everything, Andrew. Thanks so much for doing that. I know a lot of our users are very familiar with the overall system, and they're very used to coming in and seeing that featured tab and the policies tab. And so it's really nice to see how the meetings and library just sits right alongside it.
Yeah, it's a really good partnership because you're able to already, experience it through policy, and then it kind of works in seamlessly when you want to get a little more functionality through the whole the whole BoardDocs solution.
Thank you, Andrew. We're going to transition back over to the slides. And now we can touch on Plus.
Perfect. Let's do that. So the one thing I haven't mentioned at all is Plus. And so that can be added to both LT or Pro, and it's really just for districts that want to have as many meeting bodies as they'd like. So it's, as it says right there, unlimited confidential meeting bodies. And what that means is that not just your main board would have an instance of BoardDocs. You could have one for the audit committee, for the policy committee, for a curriculum committee, whatever committee you might have, or even internally. You could do staff meetings or principals meetings or whatever it may be. You could have as many instances of BoardDocs as you'd like. And the nice part about it is it's all separate. So there's a different, when you have an authenticated user, meaning that you have a login, username and password, you can actually set it up so that if someone's only on the audit committee, they would only see the relevant information to the audit committee. And so there's different document managers as well. So using that same audit committee example, if there's someone that does a lot of work for the setting up the meetings, they can be a publisher, an administrator for just that audit committee. And so that's the really nice part of Plus, is that you have all the functionality of BoardDocs, whether it's LT or Pro, for each different group in their own, if you will, instance of it. And so that you can even have, and that's the last point there, is that you can have separate voting members. So if you vote on one committee but not on the other, BoardDocs can set that up for you. So that's Plus, and some districts that have, generally larger districts that have a lot of committees, really value that, and it's a really nice addition to the system. But generally, just BoardDocs LT or Pro will work for a lot of districts that don't have an array of different meeting bodies. So that's Plus.
Great, thank you, Andrew.
Of course. And then the last thing I want to mention before Heather and I start chatting a little bit is what I think differentiates BoardDocs from a lot of our competitors in this space, and really just tech companies in general, and that's the customer support. I think a lot of people claim to have 24/7 customer support, and a short anecdote that I always like to tell when talking about this, towards the end of the year in 2017, we were talking to a few different people that were considering BoardDocs, and we talked about 24/7 support. And one of the IT gentlemen, he decided to call on Christmas to see the validity of our claim. And our support team answered, and they said, "Oh yeah, what can we do for you?" He said, "Nothing, just checking. I wanted to see if it was really 24/7 support." And so the part of that support is that they're real people. They answer the phone 97% of the time, and we're able to answer those questions 80% of the time on the first call. So we'll be able to fix the problem on the first call 80% of the time. And that's just the ongoing support. That's just what we'll have when you sign up for BoardDocs for the entire time that you're with us. When you start and when you get ready to roll out BoardDocs to your board, we'll actually come on site and implement everything. And we'll train your entire board and your leadership team on site, which is something that not many tech companies do because of the cost, but the reality of it is that if you're going to purchase something like this, you need your board to know how to use it and feel comfortable with using it, as well as your board clerk, your superintendent, all the people that need access to it. They need to feel comfortable. So that cost is nothing for us when we know that if we get you to use it properly and the value is really there, you'll continue to use our product. And so that's why we have free virtual training anytime. So if you get a new board clerk, or if there's something that maybe you're just not sure about, you want to brush up on the goal tracking piece, we can do that. We can set that up for free at any time. So a nice little quote there. I don't know if you were able to, I know I talk a lot, so I'm sure you read that, but it's a really nice tool that I think the cost savings from printing or just the time savings from kind of having to do it on a PDF or in Google Docs or on Word, it's worth it, you know, and that's what a lot of our clients say, and that's why we have such a great relationship with a large majority of our clients, because, you know, we've saved them money and time, and it's a lot easier to do, and the boards generally love it. So our customer support, I can't rave enough about it. The people are really great at setting it all up, and because even this, most of them are former board clerks, so they know what the life is like. And so I think that definitely sets us apart, aside from just the functionality and the ease of use of our actual software.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing that. And I agree 100% about the 24/7 customer support. I use it regularly. All of the folks who use our policy service come to PSBA for their policy support. But then when we have technical issues, of course, we contact the BoardDocs customer support line, and they are always just there for us 100% of the time, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, they even help me out sometimes when I forget things. So it's really great.
Great to work with. Well, I just wanted to jump in with a few notes from PSBA, and this is Heather Masshart at PSBA. We have partnered with BoardDocs for over 10 years to help districts find board solutions like BoardDocs. And currently we have over 140 school districts and intermediate units and CTCs who use the BoardDocs for the agenda platform. For the policies, we have over 570 because, of course, that's how we provide our policy services. And as you saw, it just integrates together with the board management piece, with those meetings and agendas, and if you have the Pro, of course, with the library as well. So we have folks from all parts of the state and all sizes of school entities who use this solution, both the Pro and the LT. So we wanted to just let you know what the BoardDocs pricing is. For those of you who are PSBA members, we do offer a discounted rate, which probably is all of you on this webinar, or hopefully you're PSBA members. There is a one-time setup fee for the BoardDocs Pro or LT solution, and that's a one-time $1,000 setup fee, and that covers their on-site training and implementation, everything that they do to get you up and running like Andrew explained. And then there are annual subscription fees that actually would be billed to you from PSBA. We do provide special member rates for BoardDocs solutions. For the BoardDocs Pro solution, there's an annual subscription fee of $9,000 currently. And we do just want to let you know that the rate is changing. As of March 17th, that will be increasing to $10,500 annually. The cost of BoardDocs Pro did increase, so there is a fee of annual subscription fee of $10,500 that will be coming into play. We do understand it's getting close to March 17th, so if this is something you're thinking about, if you do want to start that process, they will grandfather folks in prior to March 17th at that $9,000 rate. So if you have questions about that, please feel free to put those in the questions box, or we can follow up with you. And then the cost for the LT solution, which is the just the agenda management without some of those other pieces that Andrew laid out, the annual subscription fee for LT is $2,700 annually for PSBA members. So we try to keep that very cost effective. We know there are some smaller school entities out there who would really love that agenda solution, and they don't need everything that's included with Pro. So that LT solution might be a good solution for some of you who are a little bit smaller and don't need all of those pieces at that $2,700 rate. And then the Pro Plus and LT Plus that Andrew talked about, if you need additional committees and additional management for other boards that you might have under your district, the Pro Plus would have an annual fee of $18,000, and the LT Plus has an annual fee of $5,900. And I know those were a lot of numbers to throw out, so certainly we'd be happy to reach out to you with a full list of breakdown. If you have any questions about that, just let us know.
Perfect. One thing I want to quickly...
Thank you so much, Heather.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, no, I wanted to quickly note that what I've seen over the time I've been with BoardDocs is that a lot of people will start with LT and then upgrade to Pro because it's easier to get started. You know, it's a little bit less expensive. But being that the price is increasing, if there is interest in Pro, obviously being able to get grandfathered into that lower price point is a great deal. So if there is interest in that, obviously let me know and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Heather. Thank you both so much for the information. I know we are at time for the webinar. We've hit the 30-minute mark. Hopefully everybody has received valuable information, and follow up with Andrew or Heather or Dottie if you would like further information. Their emails are on the screen. After the webinar, as I said before, we will send out a link to this recording along with the slides. And then we'll send out some additional information, some commonly asked questions and answers to those, as well as a BoardDocs information sheet so you can read more about each solution. But I highly encourage each of you to reach out to Andrew and Heather at any time to ask questions and to learn more about the piece. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up today. Thank you so much, Heather and Andrew, for your time today. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you, everyone on the line, for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank